so much echo. I'm also, you know, it gets a lot less terrible if I take that off. So I did my review video, and then I found out that my stream was having issues. Now, it should be coming up now. So I figured I'm a wacky guy. I do some weird stuff. You can see I got my Christmas setup here with my Hughes game, and we'll get into that. But I figured I'm a wacky guy. Let's do a wacky thing. So I'm going to do a reaction video to my live stream, my beer live stream. So I can let me know how the volume is. I'm gonna probably turn it down a bit because I'm gonna talk through this part because this is like it was through one song that I was basically just sort of letting it build up. See, the funny thing is the idea behind these entry things is, you know, give people a minute to jump on, and of course, you know, that having been exactly what that is, but it not even going, you know, the whole thing's no point. I do have this thing called Epidemic Music. That's where I get all this royalty-free music from. I pay a subscription fee for the pleasure. But yeah, it's kind of worth it. It works pretty good for me. And you can hear my phone going off and saying, "Hey, you're streaming things." And I'm like, "Thanks, I didn't realize that." So now I'm gonna filter this guy with a different. That's one thing I'd like about Streamlabs OBS, which I'm a big fan of. But I would like for it to have a way to more easily adjust filters, crop pad, things like that, on the same stream. But that's a horse of another color. Okay, so I'm gonna remove that one. So suddenly that's gonna get weird, and then we're gonna go 600 there. We weren't prepared. Go away. Yeah, now you can see everything. 700, that seems good. Yeah, 700 on the side. Woo! That's the top. Nope, way too much. 250. Yeah, 250's alright. And then the rate will do another 700 because I am 760. No, let's just go like 7. It's fine. It's fine. And then for the bottom here, we're gonna go 500. Yeah, okay, for a zoomed up stupid thing, that's pretty good. Actually, I think if I'm sitting up like this. Alright, now we're gonna start getting tweaky here. Okay, there we go, now we're seeing less of my body. And then we're gonna cut off a bit of the head because there's way too much clearance up there. That was the left. The way they have this laid out is not very, I did want to make that one of those, yeah, 750. Yeah, that's probably about as much as I want to do. Rate, we're going to bring that in another 50. And the top, we're going to go to, I think, 300. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then rate another 25, 785. How's that sound? Okay. Now it's nice and zoomed in. I'm probably in a weird spot, and my face is tiny, and, you know, but we'll just make me a little bigger here. There we go. Now you can see me, and I shouldn't get in the way. Now, I would fast forward, but the method of which I'm using to do this, I don't actually know how to fast forward on this because I added it in weirdly. Don't wouldn't let me window capture VLC, which would have been a better way to watch that. I mean, I guess I could try that again. Well, that's about to start anyways. I mean, I won't be able to pause it, I don't think. No, I don't think I'll be able to pause it. But let's see what happens. Maybe start soon. Oh, hold on. I gotta kill the music. Oh, let's turn the transition is going poorly! Okay, alright. Man, that audio was bad. That audio was really bad. Might be a little bit sideways. Hold on, let's fix that. I gotta turn me way up here. Fit to screen. Oh no, I'm actually good. So I definitely had the audio poorly. I don't know if you guys are getting the echo that I'm getting. I don't know. Okay, so we are here doing a live beer review. Day 5. Speak up, Alex. So as you guys know, I've been doing live beer reviews of the 2020 beer advent calendar. You can see that my setup's getting a little bit more Christmassy. We've got our Christmas tree up with our, you know what I should make prominent. There we go. The beer Christmas ornament right there. And then we've got Rudolph has joined me here. In lieu of socially distanced Craig, we have Rudolph. Rudolph, interestingly enough, being a magical reindeer, is immune to COVID. So we don't have to socially distance. That's actually true. Good. No masks. We don't need any of that stuff. So, what beer are we reviewing today? Oh, a game. Hold on. I was also going to...
It's going to be
I've got to get the game. Give me...
Maybe see a little bit.
I'm getting the game.
It'll be an interesting take. I've already read Scott's review at this point, so
I was going to do just one, but then I'm like, Scott just did just one. Let's get that one some time to brew. Fuse! But he'll get to that. Fuse!
I gotta work on this mic.
I'm going to have to figure out a better place for that mic.
I said that.
I said okay. That is the dumbest thing I've ever done. So it's a dice rolling game. And basically what you do every round is you roll a number of dice to create a bit of a resource pool, and you try to complete weird combinations on cards in a fashion where if the more you do, the less dice you have. There's different colors and numbers.
You don't say.
The trick is the game lasts 10 minutes.
Does it? Only that?
Every time. Oh. And that's because the faster you play, the more you get to play.
Oh.
But... you can't just keep going because it's a cooperative game. You got to hand it around the bag, and everybody pulls out, rolls dice, and they're trying to defuse as many bombs as they can using the dice. And it's crazy nuts. It's frantic, and it's always I have a ton of fun playing it. It's a great party game, and something where if you have that panicky person, then you'll enjoy it because. You watch them panic.
I'm definitely not thinking of Jessica.
It's funny. If you are that panicky person, don't do it for yourself. Do it for your friends. They will love having you around. All right.
That's also actually true.
That's Fuse. Moving on. Okay. So, the beer reviews. So, first one was Fist City from... That's Chicago Pale Ale Fist City from Revolution Brewing. Eee, scary. Then Taxman Brewing gave us Qualified. I'm going to have to stop doing a full breakdown because that's going to be the whole video. And then we had, you know what? We're going to skip that one. I don't want to have to try to say that again.
Yeah.
And then we had from Temperance Brewing, Gatecrasher. All right. So far, our beers have been... pretty diverse. We've gotten two that are sort of lighter, easier drinking hop delivery systems, but not like overwhelming kind of hops. If you want to figure out what I mean by that, watch this video. I say it about 13 different times in 23 different ways. But we also had Taxman Brewing, which for me was a more traditional kind of darker beer. Very tasty, but really dark. Not something you're going to be chugging a lot of, but it was super good, and I'd love to have more. And then we had He Who Shall Not Be Named, and this guy was a very interesting beer because it was a Dunkel, darker beer, but still very very drinkable. Didn't have that heaviness that you get from stouts. Even porters at times. But it still had a lot of the sweetness and just about enough hops in the background to complement it. So that was actually a really good one as well. But today on day 5 golden rings. That's not the name of the beer, but
I am actually that person, and it's kind of embarrassing.
I'm trying to make this maybe more than it is, but because it's interesting because we go from some more traditional beers, maybe a little bit of a twist on. The more traditional styles and something that's a little bit outside of the box. And then we come to From Shades Brewing. So just to be even weirder, they put their name of the brewery as the biggest thing. But From Shades Brewing,
I don't get that.
From their Quebec series, I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced.
Not Quebec series, Quebec series.
A Pina Colada American-style sour ale. And this is an ale brewed with coconut, pineapple, and lactose. Okay, so
try to say it weirder.
Sour.
It was
sour.
Nearly weird
sour
enough.
Beer, sour ale, sour whatever. in the brewing process, when you are doing brewing, one of the most important things is sanitization.
Brewing and how it happens.
And the reason for that is that if something gets into the beer that's not supposed to be there, you haven't sanitized, whatever, it won't make the beer unhealthy to drink. The fermentation process pretty much takes care of that, so you don't have to worry about it. But it will make the beer bad to drink. It will sour the beer. The idea being is that whatever got in there is going to screw with the fermentation process. It's going to go through the whole thing. You're going to get what's called a sour beer. Now leave it to beer brewers to take something like this and say, that's a challenge, and the challenge is accepted. Because sour beers are a type of beer that basically intentionally and purposefully sour the beer to find a different flavor, to find a different taste.
Pointing with three
sour
fingers.
beers tend to be sweeter, like also sour. Like there's a that sort
sour
of pucker
beers
to
are
it.
sour.
It's going to be a more sour taste.
Glad this guy's on our side.
But they tend to be sort of almost aggressively. I say sweeter just as a comparison to what you would normally get from the bitters of hops and things like that. So that's sort of what you're looking at with a sour. And
touching your nose.
If you are not ready for a sour when you have one, you're gonna have a bad time. Not that they're bad. I have yet to have a really bad sour. I've had some that maybe were a little much, but still really good. They generally tend to be grouped with fruit flavors of some form. This one, of course,
get on with that.
Brewed with coconut and
drink
pineapple.
The beer.
Now the lactose is interesting. So the lactose obviously is the sugar from milk, right?
Obviously.
Or rather, lactose is what makes milk sweet, and that's where you would
like the worst
get
description of
lactose
lactose
from.
I've ever seen.
And the interesting thing about lactose is, although it is a sugar, it being a different kind of sugar, it's a sugar that yeast has a harder time consuming and transferring to either alcohol content or to carbonation.
And that's just
depending on how you're doing your carbonation. So what ends up happening is when you put lactose in a beer, it makes it so that more of the sweetness is going to stay in the beer because that sugar isn't going to be consumed, or at least not as easily consumed by by the yeast. So you put lactose into a beer if you're wanting to end up with a sweeter taste at the end. I think lactose, if I remember correctly, also helps a lot with mouthfeel because you are now getting something in there that is dissolved into it that's, thicker than sort of the majority of it, so you get a lot more mouthfeel out of it. That's kind of a way to get a bit more mouthfeel without jacking your alcohol content up to like 10% to get something to feel, really substantial. So I'm very interested to see what my expectation is. It's going to be very fruity. I mean, obviously, pina colada is going to be, the main flavor
in there. Come on,
and it's going to be rather sweet and should have a decent mouthfeel. This is brewed in Salt Lake City. So, without further ado, let's
Salt Lake City. That's the name of the movie.
All right, let's see if I can actually pour a beer properly here. Okay, here we go.
You got two of me right now.
Now I should have.
That's just a little bit. Well, you don't see the little bit drop out because it was behind the microphone, and that's why I have the microphone there.
Okay.
You don't get to see.
This is going actually pretty well. I did spill a tiny drop.
Yeah, the only reason it went well is because it's not a very foamy beer.
Okay, we have
so if you're foaming this one over, you're
handy dandy. Toilet paper roll.
You're not worth much.
Dab that. Clean that up. I'm gonna put that back. Okay, so it looks like a sour. Sours tend to be a little bit more cloudier. Now, there's a lot going on here. You guys probably won't be able to see it, but there's a lot of I can see sediment floating. Now, whether that is from the coconut or that could be yeast.
Could be yeast.
This could also be like a bad beer that happens every once in a while, but I doubt it.
It's not.
But yeah, there's a decent bit of sediment in there.
It's not a bad beer, I know, because Scott's reaction to it was pretty similar.
It's an interesting scent.
I gotta get better lighting because I can definitely smell the sweetness of the pineapple and a little bit of the coconut, but it's not really doing much for me to entice me. Tough to say why.
I'm looking up. It's not too bad.
I just realized.
It's friggin' light right here. And nothing come out.
As I have been want to do. I'm a little bit too lit up. We're gonna set the mood. Are we? All right, let's do it. I gotta bring this light down a little bit. Because I look way too bright. There we go.
That's set the mood
Too much. Now, this isn't focusing. Okay. All right, so.
Turn it up.
Well. Only one way to tell, right? I mean, technically, you could just judge a book by its cover and move on with your life. And then I sit here and I say nothing for like. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this beer at this moment. I just sit here and I'm really, really hoping in my head as I'm drinking this. I'm thinking I'm on video, but I'm like, man, I hope my facial expressions just carry this because I am saying nothing and I have nothing to say. That is aggressively okay. Yeah, and there's the paradox. We found it. Found the paradox. Didn't take that long either. It definitely tastes like pina colada.
Oh, thanks for the info. That's what it's called.
It's
so
a little
congrats.
bit, a little bit weak. Just the overall flavor profile is muted. Have you tried turning it off and on again? It usually resets the mute function if you can't find it. Just saying. Yeah, it's not a deep flavor. There's not a lot going on here. It's pretty much pina colada. Geez, this is one of those ones. I'm not even getting that much sour out of it. It feels like they set out to make a technical beer that tastes like pina colada.
Not a technical beer, but a beer that
you succeeded.
A drink that is technically a beer. That's kind of the point I was getting across there. I didn't word that supremely.
Yeah, I mean, geez, there is not much to say about this guy. Is it good? Absolutely. It's tasty. It tastes like pina colada. It's sweet. It's
all these things are true.
It's fruity. There's not a ton to say about this because it really doesn't taste like beer. If I put this in a glass and gave it to you and said, you drank a few sips and I said that's beer, you'd call me a liar.
You would.
And in some ways, you'd be right. There's no deer flavor there. I'm not getting a hops profile. I
thought I said deer flavor.
There's no maltiness to it. Again, it seems like they've basically gone and made what's technically a beer, but it tastes just like pina colada. And my question would be, why not just have a pina colada?
That's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit. It tastes good. I'm gonna finish it. I enjoy it. Would I buy it? Probably not. I probably just bought pina colada and vodka. I feel like you would get about the same result, provided it was a good vodka. Obviously, pina colada and Smirnoff is not. Smirnoff. Smirnoff's bad. Smirnoff's really bad. Don't drink it. Don't be a Smirnoff drinker. Yeah, I mean,
Is that what you'd call those
they
people?
achieved what they set out to do.
Oh, well, good for them.
But yeah, I can't really say much about it as far as being a beer because
You're still going to.
it's technically a beer. I'll give it that, and I'm not going to
Here we
sit here and say, "Oh, this isn't a beer." I'm not going to be judgmental in that kind of a way and try to tell people what is and isn't a beer. Again, I'm assuming that they brewed it in the fashion of a beer. And the sour process. Sours can be that. They're gonna throw things off with a sour. You're gonna run into weirdness with it, right? Because you're intentionally spoiling something, right? So with a sour, it is going to be different. But the souring that they do with this. And I don't know exactly what the processes or what you put in, to be perfectly honest, is. But it's so subtle that, it's...
You can definitely hear that echo, in the background. I don't think I've touched my
Again, if I didn't tell you it wasn't a beer, you would drink it and you would just assume it's part of the pina colada. I feel like... I feel like when you get a beer like this, you look at something where a brewmaster... you know, and these guys are geniuses in their fields, right? They, you know, do a lot of very intelligent things, but they get an idea. Well, I want to make a beer, you know, a pina colada beer.
Oh.
And they get so caught up in finding different things they can do and ways they can achieve it that, I mean, to be quite frank, I think, you know, had you made a beer with that tasted like a beer with more, you know, level notes of pina colada, you know, more muted notes of pina colada, but still had the beer taste to it, you know, just something in the flavor to remind me that it's a beer.
Oh, yeah.
I would have appreciated that more. I think it's very interesting, and it's probably a lot of creativity and ingenuity went into making this, and I can understand why it would be gold
hard to give these guys the benefit of the doubt on a
just
beer
because
that I
of
like.
the difference and the complication in probably the preciseness it took to make something like this. But I can't appreciate it as a beer, which is unfortunate. Again, it tastes good. I'm enjoying it.
Stop leaning on the table.
But it's going to be have to be the first one that I'm going to say I don't recommend. And that's just because I could recommend that, or just go get some, you know, Del Monte Pina Colada, add some vodka if you want it to be alcoholic, and you're hit the ground running. You know, which is unfortunate, but, you know, it is what it is. Again, tastes good. I'm enjoying it. I'm not going to tell you not to buy it, but I'm not going to endorse it either. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's about it. Once again, we're, you know, brought to you by Game Night Games and Cool Stuff, kind of.
Not really.
Actually, not sponsored, but a buddy of mine. And
Hashtag not spawn.
It is infinitely more interesting than this beer. How's that for a plug? All right.
It's all right.
We're going to kill it. I'm going to give you one more faux Christmas song before I'm gone. No, I'm not.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
sorry, I had to do that. That was bad.
And then we're back to the Christmas music. Okay, I got to turn it down again. I got to work on my volume balancing here. Whoop, that's too low. Yeah. All right, so that's my reaction to my beer review that I did 5 minutes ago. You know, I'm not sure if this is self-deprecating or if this is egotistical. It's definitely one of them. Maybe both, you know? Reacting to my own video I just made 5 minutes ago. Weird. I liked the part where I went aside in me and tried to make it seem like I was in the picture in a very cheap fashion. Maybe next time I do something like this, which I'll hopefully never do because it's a silly idea, but I'll get the green screen up and going, and we'll you know, get the green screen going and see how that goes. And then I still have like the green screen's done. It's done. Green screen's the easy part. It's the lighting. That's the nice bank lighting, which is more difficult. But I digress. That is beer review day 5. Pina Colada American Style Sour Ale, which I think is the name of the beer. Like, just name your beer. It's not that hard. Here, I'll do it for you right now. Okay, Salt Lake City Brewing, Shades Brewing, Pina Colada Sour. It's a sour nut ale. Yeah, coconuts in it. Ale brewed with coconut, pineapple, and lime. There you go, sour nuts. Okay, you want to be classy? Sure. Okay, let's be classy. What do you see? You got your Shades, Pina Colada. It's a sour. If you like Pina Colada and getting caught in the rain, you go Pineapple Rain. It disconnected there. Oh, it's restarting. Okay, I should probably kill it here. Thanks for watching this. Ridiculous. Yeah, I'm just gonna end it here. We don't need any